calling all behavior nerds like me. I hope you'll join me for my favorite weekend of the year, the 2026 Dog Behavior Conference. Registration is now open at dogbehaviorconference.com, and the virtual live conference takes place from April the 17th to the 19th. Your registration will give you access to all 3 days of the conference online, as well as the ability to replay all the presentations and live Q&As from the conference for up to 1 year. Reserve your seat today at dogbehaviorconference.com. That's dogbehaviorconference.com, and I'll see you there. And now, on to the podcast. Every single time I speak to this lady, she just, A, makes me laugh, but B, teaches me something, because she is a pain specialist. And we need to have and to recognize better than we've been doing when our dogs are in some kind of pain or discomfort. Her name is Yaz Porritt. She is a canine wellness consultant specializing in pain management and the owner of Yorkshire Pooches Therapies. And she's going to be speaking at the Dog Behavior Conference, April the 17th to the 19th. And I love the title, Making a Right Dog's Dinner of It, the role between canine pain and nutrition. Oh my goodness. I know our attendees are going to be in for a treat. And I am happy that you're here, Yaz. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for giving me a platform for a very niche lecture. I remember when we were first discussing it, and I was like, what would you like me to talk about? I do pain, I do nutrition. You went, I want both. And I was like, how long have I got? So we've managed to I've managed to cram as much information in to this lecture as humanly possible. So kind of like the first thing we look at is, what is pain? Now, everyone's, people can use words that are like descriptive. So they can say it's sharp, or they could talk about the duration of the pain. So it's long lasting. But realistically, the word pain for me is an umbrella term, and there's so many different bits underneath it. So we have a look at that first. But my main thing for when I was writing this lecture is that I wanted to tell people what my opinions about pain were, what the current research is telling us about pain, and also the role of the microbiome and gut health. Now, when it comes to looking after your dogs, there are some things that are like a bit to talk about, and feeding dogs has become one of those topics.
Oh, it has.
Hasn't it?
It's laden with problems and issues, and people are very passionate about it. It's like training techniques. How do you train your dog? It is as passionate as that.
Yeah, you don't discuss training. You don't discuss how you feed your dog. But I do. I love to talk about training. Not training. I love to talk about feeding. And I wanted to make sure that the attendees had stuff to take away with them to go and do further research. I don't actually discuss raw feeding at all in the lecture. I talk about different things that we can be adding in that scientifically research has shown us can improve the microbiome. And we kind of touch base with, what is the microbiome? It's a little bit of a buzzword at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a buzzword in kind of human medicine for a while now, but with our dogs, it's starting to get a little bit more traction now, I notice. And for me, it's like the more I learn about it, the more I realize how much I don't know about the microbiome. Because when you look at human medicine and microbiome, we're still learning. We don't know everything about it. But what I do know is that nutrition and gut health has cascading inflammatory effects across the body, and that's something we deep dive into. I don't want to give away too much, but
but it makes, do you know what? I know that they call the microbiome, which is the sort of the vital forgotten organ.
Yes, they do.
And as this new research comes out in people, we're now learning so much more about how it affects us and about how this really has been. I mean, it truly has been forgotten.
100%, because what could a load of germs in your tummy really have to do with anything? But actually, it's to do with absolutely everything. So from a pain perspective, I'm going to give them a little nugget. I'm giving them a little
Okay,
nugget.
yeah.
So this is my favorite one to talk about. So we all know serotonin. We all know serotonin as this. It's a happy chemical, right? It's about 90% of it is produced in the gut. So if we have a gut that is dysfunctional, so it could be anything from chronic upset tummy, or we could have something a little bit more serious like IBD or ulcerative colitis, something like that. We are impacting the microbiome's ability to produce serotonin, and we know how much serotonin impacts behavior. This is like, for me, it was when I started learning about whole body systems when I trained as a canine massage therapist. We touched base a little bit on the gut, but I was like, it was a rabbit hole I accidentally fell down. And then I was like, oh my days, this is incredible. So when I onboard a dog into Yorkshire Speech Therapy's clinic, one of the big topics of conversation is, what are you feeding your dog? Now, I am a very passionate advocate for species appropriate nutrition, but that's not just raw, that's also fresh cooked as well. And also, it's about meeting pet parents and professionals where they're at. I'm not expecting you to feed all organic, raw, and slaughter it yourself and prep it in the kitchen. Who has time for that? I certainly don't have time for that. But if someone has a good quality dry based food, which they do exist, right? I go, okay, so what's the first thing that I'd be adding in? Hydration. Whether you're adding on water, filtered is preferable, um, or you're adding on bone broth, which we discuss in detail in the lecture, or things like chamomile tea. How easy is it to access good quality chamomile tea? I mean, you can pick organic up in the supermarket.
Wait a second. Chamomile tea in dog food?
Yeah.
What?
So I make cups of teas for my dogs. So basically, I'm also trained as an applied herbal choices consultant. So I have like another branch of knowledge about herbal health. Chamomile is one of the most potent anti-inflammatories that we can have and our dogs can have, right? So when with inflammation, the thing with inflammation is it's not about getting rid of inflammation. We need inflammation. It's an important mechanism so your body knows that it needs to heal. It's when that inflammation gets out of control, that's when it becomes an issue. So that can be for gut health, that can be for joint health as well. Now, I'm not saying that giving chamomile tea means that, you could take your dog off all the meds and woo, they're fixed. Nothing like that. It's about complementing what we already have in place. So yeah, I'd say probably about 90% of the in-clinic dogs that come to see me have chamomile tea on a night. So with chamomile tea, it's also a bitter. So a bitter is like one of the properties of chamomile. So when you drink it, makes you go like and kind of like pucker your face up, right? That kind of bitter sensation promotes the production of digestive enzymes. So
Ah.
it starts working here. It sends a message to the brain to go, right, okay, we need to start producing these digestive enzymes. Then as it goes down the digestive tract, it has those lovely anti-inflammatory qualities to just bring calm as well. So I use chamomile tea. I use chamomile hydrolats in my clinic. So that's where dogs kind of like do sniffy stuff, a little bit of zoopharmacognosy. And a lot of the dogs that I work with will select chamomile because they have an instinctual ability to select plant based materials for their medicinal purposes. It's the same with us. If we've got like upset tummy, we might have peppermint tea, which is something I also discuss in the lecture. But these are like super easy things that we can add into the dog's diet, relatively low cost. And do you know what? They absolutely love it. Obviously, make sure it goes tepid. Once it's tepid, I mean, I can't have a herbal tea in my house without the dogs nosing around going, what you doing, what you having? But I love it. I absolutely love it. And I also think as well, it's like a really nice kind of moment to connect with your dog. So you don't necessarily have to put it on the food. You make yourself a cup of herbal tea, make one for the dog, and you
I
have a cup
love
of tea
that.
together.
I mean, sorry,
Yeah.
how English is that? How British is that to have a cup of
Yes, so
tea?
so British.
And our British dogs can enjoy that as well. But no, look, we have
Yeah.
obviously, we have it over here in the States. Um, and I'm not a tea drinker, but I should be a tea drinker because
You
I
should
think it's
be.
gonna help my microbiome. So when is the
Mhm.
best time to drink chamomile then?
Ooh, I like, chamomile on an evening. You know, if you've had, like, a really
Mm.
busy day and you've been sat in front of a screen and your brain's very overstimulated, your dogs also feel that effect from the type of lighting that they have in the house and, depending on what's going on in their life, say if it's a reactive dog, so we've got cortisol levels up here, stress levels up here, or maybe they've just had a busy day. They've had a nice day, but a busy day, and they just need something to come back down to earth. Whereas with peppermint, I tend to have that on a morning because if you look at the I'm gonna go really hippie here. But if you look at the energetic profile of peppermint, it's very uplifting. So I find that's a nice one to start the day with. And as well, like it's about increasing hydration, especially if your dog is fed dry food, which is fine, but they need more hydration than what we think. Not just what's in the water bowl, but offering these little cups of tea is just a nice way to kind of boost everything up. If we've got good hydration levels, the body is far better equipped to deal with inflammation. It's far better at flushing out toxins left over by inflammation. So you have the inflammatory process, and part of the waste of that is something called free radicals. So
Mhm.
free radicals, if they're left to float around the body, they're really toxic, they're really gross. Whereas if we have enough hydration in, we can help flush it out. Then you could add in some antioxidants as well, which help take those free radicals out. So things like blueberries, they're great. They're really good to add into the diet. But hydration is key. If anyone wants to add anything in, water or tea, just bone broth, get that hydration in. I would say that's like my number one kind of go-to when it comes to supplements. But another thing I discuss in the lecture is supplementing with purpose as well.
Oh gosh, I cannot wait. I'm so excited for this. And, if you wanna hear this, you need to register dogbehaviorconference.com, and it is an online conference. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, and you don't have to be there live for the entire 3 days. I'm there live the entire 3 days, but you don't have to be there live for the entire 3 days because once you register, the presentations go out live, then you have access to them for a year afterwards and the Q&A sessions that happen afterwards. So, wow, I know that there is so much more that we can talk about with regards to that. But yeah, I don't want you giving too much away.
I know, I'm like,
And it is fascinating. You're going to be talking about, and I'd like to focus on that here for a few minutes. It's understanding the 4 pillars of pain.
Yeah. So my 4 pillars of pain is something that we discuss in depth with the lecture, but kind of I wanted a resource, something really easy to kind of grasp hold of to assess whether or not a dog's in pain. Now, this isn't replacing veterinary intervention at all, but my first one, so if you have a painful dog, the first thing you're going to see is a change in behavior. That's usually the first one. Then it will be changes in gait, so the way that the dog is moving. So we kind of look a little bit at how to spot the more common abnormalities in like severe cases. Then you've got changes in posture, so how the dog is holding themselves. I mean, all of us working in this industry should be able to recognize a sloppy sit, and they kind of like go over
Mhm.
into one hip. We have a problem there. And then changes in capability tend to be the last ones that pet parents or professionals notice. So, what was the dog once capable of and is no longer capable of? So, that could be jumping in and out of the car. Is there just a pause? Are they having to kind of like almost like psych themselves up a little bit to get in the car or get on the sofa, or they look at mum and dad say, can you just give me a hand, please, to help them up into the car? If we're ticking, in my opinion, if we're ticking at least two of those, we potentially have a dog that's painful. We have to remember that our dogs are sentient beings. They are the same as us on a cellular level. We're just put together slightly differently. Pain is pain, whether you're looking at us or whether you're looking at the dog. The difference is the dog can't verbalize that pain.
Mm.
But what they will do is show you, firstly, those changes in behavior. So, new noise sensitivity, new aggression towards people or the dogs, or traffic reactivity, or anything like that. If it's come out of nowhere, it hasn't. I mean, it doesn't, outrule things like neurological conditions and things like that. But for the most part, we have an epidemic of painful dogs. Painful
Now,
dogs, and yeah.
is conformation part of that? I know that's a
Oh,
tricky
yes.
question to ask, and I throw you right in there.
I'm diving in. I'm diving
But
in.
as you know, in England, there is
Mhm.
this huge thing going on with the innate health assessment, then the Royal Kennel Club
Mhm.
and what they're doing. And now there is some discussion between them. There will be some discussion between them that will bring
Good.
breeders to the table. But how much does conformation affect pain in dogs?
100%.
100%.
100%. So, okay, let me think. I'm going to talk about Frenchies. I know that they get a lot of stick, but I'm going to talk from an orthopedic kind of the conformation of the dog. So with Frenchies and English bulldogs, any dog that has a corkscrew tail, so it twists at the end. That's something called hemivertebrae. So your vertebrae is the building blocks of your spine, and say they're like this, right? They're like a rectangle. To have a hemivertebrae, it has to be a twist, and that's what gets that corkscrew tail. But with genetics, it's a roll of the dice. The body doesn't go, oh, I'll just keep the hemivertebrae on the tail. Don't worry about it. Pops up, it can pop up anywhere along that dog's spine because it's in the blueprints on how to make that spine is to chuck in a couple of hemivertebrae. And I don't say that lightly, but it's this is why we see a lot of cases of IVDD in Frenchies, because it tends to be like the Daxies with the exaggerated features with the long back that kind of go about the IVDD, and I'm like, you're missing these guys over
And we're
here
talking
actually who are.
invertebral disc disease.
Yes. And it's serious. It's as serious as it can get. It's a condition that affects the spine. Now, when I look at a Frenchie, so if I'm looking kind of at their back, right, I'm looking for a dog to have a nice kind of tabletop back. Obviously, there's going to be breeds that don't fit that. So, for example, the Whippet, they are naturally roach in their back. It helps with speed and what they are bred for. With the Frenchies, if you look at them side on, for the most part, their point of hip is higher than their point of withers. So they're on like a bit of a slant like this. If you look in between their shoulder blades, you will see a visible dip. Now, usually with the vertebrae in between the shoulders, you're not going to be able to see it. But with Frenchies, it goes under. And that's because the spine is almost like a roller coaster, for want of a
A
better word.
roller coaster. The
Hmm.
Frenchie spine can look like a roller coaster
Like with dips. And then
with
you've got
dips.
the odd twist. And it just makes me so incredibly sad. It makes me incredibly sad because, I've got Frenchies that come to see me in clinic and they have bags of personality. They're so
Mhm,
funny. They've got,
mhm.
such character. But when I look at them, I'm looking at an animal that has had the breeding manipulated to look a certain way, which, in my opinion, I believe them to be born into a life of chronic pain. This isn't something that develops, when they're 2 years old, that suddenly they get this hemivertebrae. No, this is from day dot, and this is before we even talk about the facial conformation. And I find with bull breeds in general, so that's also your staffies and things like that, they have a lot of TMJ pain in their jaw. When they're panting and you can see all that pink tissue,
Yeah,
that's muscle. And I yeah, I can only speak anecdotally, but from what I see in clinic with bull breeds, they carry a lot of tension in their TMJ, which is around the jaw and kind of going down their neck as well. And then you add in the fact that there's soft palate issues, which I know isn't the case for every single French bulldog. And I know there's I think it's a breeder over in, I want to say Finland or something, who is crossing French bulldogs with, I think, a little bit of Staffy or something like that. They're going through the generations at the moment, and we're starting to see Frenchies who are taller.
Mhm.
They've got a little bit more of a tabletop back. They have more of a face. And I'm like, yes, let's reshape what this breed looks like, not for, not for aesthetic reasons, but for health reasons as well. We cannot get away from the statistics. I think the average lifespan for a Frenchie, I think it's like 4.5 years or something. That
What,
was a
four and a
statistic.
half years?
Yeah, that's the average lifespan for a Frenchie. That was it was a veterinary group that brought that out. Like, to me, when we share our lives with these dogs, I want them to be here for as long as and as healthy as possible. If that's what the breed is averaging at, we've really got to take scope. So I think with this new initiative that's been brought out, what's the
It's the
health
innate
tool?
health assessment tool, and then the Royal Kennel Club, oh, I've forgotten what they're called. They I think because of the IHA,
Mhm.
they knew they had to do something, so they've
Mhm.
come out with their scheme, which actually I feel like makes a lot of sense,
Mhm.
um, and is done in conjunction with veterinarians.
Mhm.
But I think because there's been, after I had Beverly Cuddy on as a guest, of course, that and she described, she's been very much, she was the one that was on Pedigree Dogs Exposed in 2008 with Jemima
Mhm.
Harrison,
Yeah.
and really taking the Kennel Club to task about conformation in dogs. And then there was this
Yeah.
huge, massive explosion
Mhm.
of people. But what happened in that is that what she said is that breeders were demonized, even the
Mm.
breeders who were trying to do good things, and
Mhm.
to breed their dogs so that their conformation meant that they were healthier, and
Yeah.
their temperament was better. And
Mhm.
so it led to the demonization of breeders, then the proliferation of backyard breeders, as we call them here, and
Mhm.
huge kennels that can be licensed that are just churning out dogs.
Yeah.
So, coming to the innate health assessment, she became very alarmed at the fact that measurement was at the core of this, instead of, could measurement alone actually show you that the dog's in pain? Would measurement alone be an indicator of that? Or should we be bringing other factors into it, like behavior? So
Mhm.
I totally understand where she's coming from. Yet on the
Yeah.
other end, I also totally understand people are like saying, enough is enough. What are
Yeah.
we doing to dogs, for goodness sake?
Mhm.
If a breed like the Dachshund, which is now the UK's most popular breed,
Mhm.
if the breed like the Dachshund is suffering, then it doesn't matter if they've got, if we do
Make
breed a
them a bit
dachshund with
taller.
longer legs and shorter backs and that it doesn't
Mm.
look like a dachshund anymore, because
Mhm.
surely that's better than what we've all got used to. And I love dachshunds. I love the
Yeah.
look of dachshunds, but I
Mhm.
know how they can have back issues and how they
Mhm.
can have leg issues and all kinds of problems and health problems with
Mhm.
dachshunds.
I think it needs to be multifactorial, like with the height or the, any kind of measurements, we fall into the territory that sadly the XL bully ban kind of brought in,
It's
where
exactly
they
the point I
go,
made.
"Whoop,"
Yeah,
and I'm like, this has fallen flat in my opinion. Breed specific legislation is not fit for purpose. They are not assessing these dogs on a case by case basis. They just get the tape measure out. And I'm not saying it's an easy job for the police or the vets who, these dogs fall into that category and potentially have to be euthanized. It must be awful. But can't we see how that's not working? And then just to rely on that for our pedigree dogs? Listen, If we want to improve the health and longevity of breeds, that takes time, that takes generations.
Mm.
All breeders are not bad breeders, okay? Like you say, like that it takes time to pick the right stud and find the right dam, and then okay, yeah, brilliant, we've got a lovely one of this, and and then kind of like cross it out again and try it. It takes time, it takes generations, and it takes because it's taken us a long time to get into this mess with what the breed
Right.
standard is at the moment. So it's going to take a long time to reverse it, and careful, breed selecting. But when you look at, so the Kennel Club have it's almost like a database. It's like public access. Anyone can look at it, and it tells you what are okay scores for hip scores, for example. So with the Labrador, I think it's anything under a 12. Jobs are good in, that's classed as good breeding stock, which it sounds too farmery to say like that, but that's what it is,
That's the
right?
language. Yep.
So they have a tolerance level of 12, whereas with the English Bulldogs, their tolerance level is something like 40. Now, anything above 3 on each side, so a combination of 6, is technically hip dysplasia. Hate to say it, but if you so each hip has can get a score. Now anything between 0 and 3 is classed as pretty damn good, because these are animals. We're not going to get textbook perfect every time. Anything over 3 means there is some kind of abnormality in the joint.
So
So
you're
for me, I'm
saying
like,
with a hip score of anything that's over 6, you're looking at hip dysplasia.
for me, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's the opinion that others will hold, but and it's not that I'm seeking perfection all the time. What I'm seeking is dogs that aren't painful, and it's not going to become an issue later on. And it's not to say that, like if a dog is, anatomically beautiful and we haven't got any orthopedic issues, that doesn't necessarily safeguard them from arthritis, but it makes a damn difference, because if you've got an orthopedic condition, it's not a case of if they get arthritis, it's when, because the conformation of the joints is so disrupted. There's a fantastic professor, I think he's based in Germany, called Professor Martin Fischer. He wrote a book called Dogs in Motion, and he did basically pop dogs on a treadmill. He had like this X-ray video, and he filmed what these dogs look like, what their skeleton looks like when
Mm.
they are in motion. And with I can't remember which, I was at a conference, and basically he shared some of this new footage that he had of a clinically sound French bulldog, popped him on the treadmill, did the video, and then he did 3D modeling over the X-ray video. And this dog's patella, so the kneecaps, just wasn't even where it should be. You could see the femur coming out of and that was a
Oh.
clinically sound French bulldog. I think it's really difficult because they are beautiful dogs. I just hate what people have done to them. And if we are too hard on breeders, there's going to be a breaking point, right? Where they go, right, okay, I'll just stop. But they're the people that are making the difference. But ultimately, if there is a demand and that demand isn't met by breeders, because I remember years ago, like years and years and years ago, it was very common for you to wait for a
Yes.
puppy.
And actually,
You would
you still
wait.
people do still wait for the puppy
Hmm.
that they want.
Yeah, yeah.
But that doesn't tick a lot of people's boxes, because when we want a puppy, we want it now. So we're gonna
Yep.
go to an internet site or go to another place, and we're gonna get a puppy now.
Hmm.
And we have to, I think, change the way that people purchase their dogs.
Yeah. 100%. The amount of dogs that I have in clinic where I'll go, okay, tell me a little bit about the history, where did they come from? And they were like, we didn't know at the time, but it was likely a puppy farm.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, and that's what we do, need to protect our good breeders,
Yes, we do.
so that, and need to get rid of those puppy farms. But
Hmm.
that is, I mean, people have been trying, and we continue with that fight. I'll
Yeah,
be
there's is it Tilly's Law? Tilly's Law, I think it is. There's some kind of
Lucy's
legislation
Law.
in Lucy's Law,
Lucy's
sorry,
Law.
not
Yeah.
Tilly's.
I just don't see much change from that. But yeah, step in the right direction, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I'm going to
100%.
be back, or I will be back with Yaz after this quick break. Are you and your dog struggling with reactivity? You're not alone. At Positively, we've created a powerful new approach that will finally provide a lasting solution for your dog's reactivity. And it's available for you and your dog right now. Go to positively.com, click Take a Course, and find Help Stop Reactivity to enroll in this game-changing online course for you and your dog today. That's positively.com. And now, back to the podcast. I'm back with Yaz Porritt, and we're talking all things pain and microbiome. Oh, let's see, because she's speaking at the Dog Behavior Conference. Right. But I do want to talk about something that you and I, Yaz, have been. It's a little awkward, isn't it?
It is. Is it because we're British and we're a bit like
Oh, I don't know. Anyway,
fiery, powerful women? That's why.
yeah, right. We
Mm,
shouldn't. We shouldn't be outspoken. We need to
mm.
know our place.
How dare you have an opinion that is different
Yeah,
to others?
right. Come on. Anyway, we go to Crufts pretty much every year. And this year I'm not going to Crufts. Yaz will be there. But I won't be going to Crufts. I've been to Crufts probably on and off for 20 years. Filmed with It's Me or the Dog there twice, or maybe is it 3 times? I was the roving reporter for Richard and Judy. I've been the contributing presenter for BBC, More 4 and Channel 4. And I've had a booth there. And then also filmed for YouTube, things like that. And I've supported Crufts because even though every year people are like, why are you going and supporting that show?
Mhm,
I'm like, I know, I understand it. That is not the conformation part, the showing part is not the reason why I go. The education part is the reason why I go. The celebration of dogs is the reason why I go.
mhm,
However, last year, and it seems to be getting progressively worse, I saw some very concerning handling behavior in
mhm,
the ring, out of the ring, and as people were walking their dogs around, to the point where you could label it abusive.
mhm,
And it just happened too many times. Not only me, other people working on my stand saw it as well.
mhm.
And this was not an isolated incident. And then, yes, when you and I got talking, then I also realized that you had seen it as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's not an isolated event. Now, I know there is the conflict of attending Crufts, which I think was one of the names of the podcast when we talked about this from last year.
Yeah.
It is very conflicting. And I want people to know that I go to educate, to talk about pain. And I'm working with some great companies this year. And, we've got the same ethics. So I'm like, I feel really comfy there. But it doesn't negate the fact there is this internal conflict in me. And the internal conflict comes from, obviously, we've talked about the confirmation. I cannot go and watch some of the showing because I'm just like, this is just insane. I just see painful dogs everywhere. It's very triggering for me. Um, and then the handling in the show ring, out the show ring, walking up and down the kind of the shopping area, the notice announcement saying there's a distressed dog in a car, there's a distressed dog in a kennel, please return to its bench. It's like, I get why people be like, yes, why on earth are you there? But I always say you have to be in the room to have the conversation. What you see on television is different to what you see when you are there. Obviously, you are going to see, and we have seen aversive handling on the
Oh,
television.
yeah. Last year, even.
was it the Jack Russell? That beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful Jack Russell picked up by its neck and its tail and put on the floor, and there was an audible gasp, and I was like, "Did everyone see that?" And then it was like, "Hey!" And I'm like, I don't think people are understanding what they're seeing because you become habituated to this type of handling. Now, I'm not saying that, every dog has to be on a harness in the show ring, but let's lose the cheese wire. Let's lose the really thin slip leads. What we want to see is the dog wanting to show themselves off because you can see the dogs who are like, oh, yeah, it's all about
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
And they just glide. Whereas the handlers that have got the tight lead, there's no softness in that lead. They're yanking the dog's head up or not even allowing space to yank. And they're holding it so tight to keep the dog's head up. What you're doing is impacting the overall biomechanics of the dog. You're putting incredible pressure on the thyroid, airways, and also, are you trying to hide forelimb lameness? Because just
Four-limb lameness.
mhm.
Okay, tell
So
me about that, because the average
so if
person is not gonna see that.
so forelimb lameness, the godfather of rehab is Professor Darryl Millis. And he said that for the naked eye to see forelimb lameness, so typically it's a head nod. So if the dog is nodding their head towards the left, it's because they're trying to alleviate pressure off the right, and vice versa. Okay. He says to spot forelimb lameness with the naked eye, the dog has to be at least 20% lame for you to start picking it up.
So
So we've already got a problem.
already a
Already, we've
problem.
got a big problem.
And you're seeing lameness as you are watching these dogs go round the ring. This is Best in Show, by the way. Best in Show.
Best in Show, the kind of like mini green carpets where they pick best in breed. I see lameness everywhere. I see hypermobility everywhere. I see dogs who are clearly incredibly stressed as well as aversive handling. I try and go and look at some of the breeds that I don't see a lot in clinic because for me to understand, how is the dog looking, I need to go and look, well, what's the breed standard? And I can't stay for very long because it genuinely can make me feel quite ill sometimes. So I think it was Chow Chow or something. It was a breed I didn't see a lot of, and it was a puppy, and it tried to bite the judge, and then it placed, and I was like, "Hang on a minute! Not only is that dog lame, that dog has gone to bite the judge, and now they've placed. What example are we setting for people who are showing, people who are watching? Because members of the public, they will use Crufts to go and look at dog breeds that they're interested in, right? If they see that dog going to bite the judge and then they go and get a Chow Chow, for example, and the dog goes to bite them, oh, it's just normal for the breed. We need to stop normalizing stressed dogs and lame dogs and painful dogs. It drives me insane to the point that I come home from Crufts and I am done. Like, you won't hear off me for like a week because I'm so overstimulated and just sad. To be honest, I'm sad.
Are you confused by all the conflicting dog training info flying around the internet? Tired of hearing about compromises that don't consider the dog's overall wellness? Looking for more than just how to teach dogs to do or not do something? If you feel like there must be more to dog training than the same old tired arguments about tools and methods, you're right. No matter your background, discover an inclusive community designed to go beyond traditional dog training and develop what you need to live your best life with your dog at positively.com. Accounts are completely free to set up, and you'll find countless pages, videos, and courses to level up not just your skills and knowledge, but also how you think about living your best life with your dog. Visit us now at positively.com. That's positively.com. And now, back to the podcast. You are right. And it's pretty shocking for those of you who are not living in the UK, won't watch Crufts on TV don't know what it is. It is the
Mhm.
largest dog show in the world. Think Westminster Dog Show on steroids for all of you people living in the United States. This is not just Madison Square Gardens. This is 4 or 5 times the size of Madison Square Gardens. On average, there are around 22,000 dogs that compete over 4 days,
Mhm.
and there are hundreds of booths and stalls selling clothes, dog paraphernalia, behavior services, canine massage services,
Mhm.
services that you sell as well, with
Mhm.
educating people about pain. And so hundreds of thousands of people go in person every year.
Mhm.
And every night for the 4 nights, they show for about an hour and a half, maybe even more sometimes, certainly on the last day, Best in Show, they'll show the best of. And they will have little segments about dog behavior and dog conformation and stories and stuff. There's a lots of dog sports there. There's the West Midlands Police there that I love. Crufts is massive. They have
Mhm.
around each night, it's about 1,000,000 viewers. So 1,000,000 people every night are watching these dogs.
Mhm.
So 1,000,000 people are watching, and Crufts is exceedingly popular. When you have naysayers, say, let's say the RSPCA that used to go but now don't go. I am an ambassador for the RSPCA. They
Mhm.
used to go, they don't go anymore because they were seeing a lot of what we're seeing and
Mhm.
they stopped going. You don't see organizations like that anymore. And more you see people not going,
Mhm.
including myself. Now, does Crufts really care if Victoria Still was not there? No, they don't care.
Mm.
They are they're big, they're powerful, they're proud of their show, and they're gonna just do what they
They're
do.
gonna do. Mm.
But I told them the reason why I wasn't going. And I have to say, kudos to them. They reached out and said, could we have a conversation? Or maybe I reached out to them and asked them for a conversation. I forget which. But anyway, we did have a conversation.
Mhm.
And now we've had another conversation. It's very difficult to get somebody to actually talk to you because it's a closed shop. The Royal Kennel
Yes.
Club, as it is now, has always been a very closed shop.
Mhm.
However, it seemed like there was a spirit of collaboration. And I know, Yaz, you especially came up with some uh, amazing suggestions on how to improve the welfare and well-being of dogs at Crufts,
Mhm.
which is something that we have talked to Crufts about. It's too late for them to implement it this year. I wish they had maybe done it because
Done
they were
it.
remiss. But anyway, let's hope they take that spirit in which it is given, which is to truly, we don't want to
Mhm.
get rid of Crufts. We need a
Nope.
healthy kennel club, but it is to help the welfare and wellness of dogs at Crufts whilst they are there.
They're under their responsibility. In my eyes, that every single dog and person that attends Crufts is the responsibility of the kennel club and Crufts. Whilst they are under that roof and in the car park, while someone is attending that event, it is their responsibility to get it right. And you know, we put the suggestions forward to them, and some of the suggestions, like you said, is realistically we're not going to be able to get it rolled out for this year. I think that some of our suggestions have been implemented to a certain degree, but I think it was really important for us to kind of go into that meeting and say, listen, we want to collaborate with you. For me, from a pain management aspect, if the kennel club shut down and Crufts shut down tomorrow, we would be in a really bad state of affairs because we'd lose all the data for all the health scoring that we've got. We'd lose our accredited breeders and all the lineage. We'd lose it all, and it's important, but it's also important to take stock that what we've got at the moment is not sufficient, and trying to gently kind of drag him a little bit out of the Stone Age has been a bit rough, but I feel like some of the things that they're implementing and getting on board with is good, but it's not a big enough step for me.
No, it isn't. And so if we can help that step be a lot bigger, then
Mhm,
great.
mhm,
And I do hope they welcome it, embrace it.
mhm.
I don't know. I don't know
I don't know
what the
either.
future will be,
Mhm,
but it can't continue. Well, I guess it can continue because people will still go. People will still watch it on television because they
mhm.
don't know what they're seeing. But when
No,
you understand behavior, when you understand pain, and you're seeing it everywhere, you cannot unsee it and you cannot
mhm,
justify it. And we're
no,
not saying that every dog needs to sort of have lovely doggy zen when they go there, but we do have to put it first and foremost in people's minds, right?
mhm,
This is
mhm.
not, yes, we're going to go and see how these beautiful dogs are and it's all about best in show and but it has to be because A, the dogs want to be there,
Yeah,
but that this is a dog centric show because it's not right now. It is a
no.
people centric show.
Mhm.
That's what it
Driven
is.
by ego.
Oh,
Driven by
totally
ego. Mm,
driven by ego. And that is a terrible state of affairs. But the other
mhm,
thing on the training side as well, we're so moved past teaching your dog to sit, stay, and come when called, even though that's really important.
mhm,
For it's important in, um, I guess, more important for people, and it's important for safety.
mhm.
But we've moved so far beyond it
Yeah.
that I think Crufts needs to embrace that as well.
Yes.
They need to have more segments about behavior, about dogs' needs,
Mhm.
and about how you can meet those needs. They need to do more segments about pain and
Yeah, how to
recognizing pain
top in.
and how
Yeah.
yeah, and lameness. They need to do more.
Mhm.
You've got now that every night for 4 nights.
You have a captivated audience that want
Exactly.
to learn, and because I don't tend to watch Crufts until I come home. I'm a bit, like, Cruftsed out by the end of the day when you're working there, but, like, the segments that they do about the history of a breed and stuff like that is so interesting. It's
Yes.
so, so interesting, and I kind of want to give a nod to the people. I would really love a welfare initiative to be rolled out at Crufts,
100%
and
yes.
you know the people that they've got the dog on the bench, they've got him a little den set up, they have a whole buffet set out, camping chairs, everyone's there for that one dog. You, my friend, are an absolute legend and you need rewarding for this because today is all about that dog.
Here, here.
And that's incentivize that, not banging him in a crate and then going off shopping. No, 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 no. We need to incentivize the good because right now, reprimanding poor behavior or poor handling, well, they're not being reprimanded.
No.
They're not. So
No.
why don't we turn it into a positive and reward the people who, like I just have this like I envisage this, like if dogs are in the ring and say like, okay, they place first, second, and third, but actually the best handling or the dog that dog and handler connection or something like that, you also get a prize. But maybe that's just me because I think every dog should win because every dog is a winner. But incentivize welfare, incentivize good handling styles. Do a segment on good handling styles because there's some fantastic handlers there, really brilliant handlers who are just in tune with the dog. They've got the little treaties and they stack them beautifully. That's another thing with stacking. If you're having to lift individual limbs up to stack the dog properly, it's because it can't stack itself. Why can't it stack itself? Because there's potential conformation issues there, or it is painful, or it is stressed, or the other dog's too close to it, or whatever it is. If you're having to pick it up, your stack looks rubbish. I'm sorry, it does.
Mhm.
But it's the ones that run and stop. I'm like, oh, chef's kiss. That's beautiful. That's a comfortable dog. It's not often you'll hear me say that, Crufts, but there are the odd occasion. I think it was and a Beaten hound, I think I
Mm.
saw once, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that dog is delicious!" And like the handling was perfect, but that was 3 years ago that I saw saw that
3
dog.
years ago.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, okay, so that's the reason, but I know you're going this year and And for all of those people, I think, that are listening to this, I do hope that you also put pressure on the Kennel Club
Mhm.
that they need to have a welfare initiative in place,
Yeah.
especially for Crufts. So
Yes.
Yaz and I, we're trying. We're continuing to try, and
Mhm.
we hope
Fighting the
that they
good fight.
collaborate with us. Who
Yeah.
knows? We
Who
shall see.
knows?
Watch this space.
Watch this space because we are not letting this drop.
No,
We're
no,
not letting this drop.
no,
Um,
not at
because
all.
something has to change because how many more years can I keep going?
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
like I love, like I work with Fatiza and I get to talk about pain and photobiomodulation. I'm working with Canine and I get to talk about gut health and all that good stuff. But at what price?
I
What
know.
price am I
And
paying? You know?
we loved it with the booth there, the VSA booth, and it was just, we had people coming in there, lots of behavior advice. My
Yeah.
VSPDTs would come, VSA graduates
Yeah.
would come, giving loads of fabulous behavior advice to people. We want to be able to do that again, but we can't when there's a background of
It's
suffering
an underbelly.
from many
It's the
of those
dark.
dogs.
It's a dark underbelly.
It really
Crufts.
is.
It's.
Really
I always
is.
say it's the very best of the dog world and the very worst, all under one roof.
Yes,
All under
I'm
one roof.
so glad that you joined me today. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for your presentation at the Dog Behavior Conference. Everybody register dogbehaviorconference.com to hear more of Yaz Porritt. She really is the mind of information regarding everything pain and now the microbiome. And I know we're going to learn a lot. Thank you so much, Yaz, for joining us.
Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you guys for giving us your time. We always really appreciate it. And I'll see you again on another podcast. You take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Victoria Stilwell's Positively podcast. For Victoria's online dog training courses, more information, and helpful dog training tips, visit Victoria's official website at positively.com. Get connected on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media as Victoria Stilwell. Learn to become a professional dog trainer with the Victoria Stilwell Academy at vsdogtrainingacademy.com. And be sure to tune in next time as Victoria helps you and your dog live your best life together. Positively.
Are you overwhelmed by the world of professional dog training? We get it. There are so many different voices competing for the hearts and minds of people like you who just want the best for dogs and the people who love them. The good news is we're living in a golden age of understanding about not just how dogs think, feel, and learn, but also the importance of exploring and respecting the life experience and overall wellness of these amazing animals. But it can be tough keeping up with and making sense of all the labels: force-free, balanced, positive. And even when you identify the type of training that resonates naturally with you, people are telling you that positive training alone isn't enough. At VSA, we understand how hard it can be to navigate this world. And we're also at the forefront of rethinking what it means to be a professional in the pet industry working with dog behavior. And spoiler alert, it's about much more than just teaching dogs to do or stop doing something. So we'll make it simple. If you're looking to cut through the noise and focus on building or nurturing a career dedicated to serving the best interests of dogs and the people who love them, come talk to us at the Victoria Stilwell Academy. We have live and online courses designed for people at every step of their professional dog training journey, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Visit us when you're ready at vsdta.com. Once again, that's vsdta.com. We're here to support you no matter your background, and we'd be honored to share your journey with you. And now, back to the podcast.